Hi, Landon.
Hello, Evan.
How are you?
Good.
Can you please explain nuclear fission reactors to me?
Okay, so first we need to mine the uranium, which is naturally found in these countries. Some of them don't have uranium, so they need to import it. And then these are the largest exporters.
Whoa, wait, that's actually kind of cool. I didn't know that.
Okay, then we need to enrich uranium, which involves separating the sigma uranium-235, which is fissile and can be used, from the beta uranium-238, which is around 99% of the uranium found on Earth, and is fertile, so not as fissile. This is done by spinning the uranium atoms and using the centrifugal force to separate them. After we get the uranium-235, and we use that in the nuclear reactors, the uranium-235 absorbs a slow-moving neutron and becomes excited uranium-236. The excited uranium-236 contains the barium-141 and krypton-92 and 3 extra neutrons. These neutrons are too fast to be properly absorbed by the next uranium-235 and thus need to be moderated by water, heavy water, or graphite. Now these neutrons are slow enough to be absorbed by the other uranium-235 and continue the cycle. Some of the reactors actually capture these extra fast-moving electrons to produce plutonium-239 from uranium-238. This process is also called breeding. When the nucleon splits, the strong nuclear force, which is also mass, E equals mc squared, gets converted into thermal energy. This energy then converts the water into steam, which then turns a turbine, converting mechanical energy into electrical. When the rods are done, they need to be handled with extreme care as they are more radioactive compared to the fresh fuel and thus need to be stored safely underground in these water tanks. After they sit there for about a couple decades, they are then stored underground until the rest of the isotopes decay.
Thank you, Landon. Bye.
Bye.
Go. Hi, John.
Hello.
Since you're the master of future availability on nuclear energy, I have a few questions for you.
Yes.
What do you think the future of nuclear energy is?
So currently there is plenty of uranium left in the world to generate nuclear energy. However, it is a finite supply. According to certain graphs provided by the World Nuclear Association, the demand of nuclear power is slowly going up as countries have started to embrace the idea of using nuclear powers and nuclear energy, and some have pledged to triple nuclear capacity by 2050. So currently, the requirements or demand actually is going up more, and the production is kind of going up, but also less than the current demand right now. So, yes, following these trends, the current world supply of uranium could run out by 2080. But this supply can be increased if countries open new uranium mines. The problem is that these mines take 10 to 15 years to open. In the short term, industries could struggle to supply enough uranium if demand increases.
Ah, okay. Thanks for explaining that. But I have a really cool question from the audience. Is this energy source renewable or non-renewable, and why does this matter for the future?
Great question. Well, the short answer is no. Although nuclear energy is generally considered a green energy, one that produces little to no greenhouse emissions, it isn't renewable. Uranium, the primary source of nuclear energy, can't be replenished during the human lifetime and only regenerates over billions of years. If we use all available uranium and other elements used to generate nuclear energy, there won't be any left in the future. We need to be moving away from non-renewable, albeit efficient energy, and start relying more on renewable sources of energy such as solar or the wind.
I have one last question for you. Another member from the audience asked, what factors could increase or decrease availability of this energy source over time?
So one factor that could increase or decrease is population growth. The current world population is sitting at around 8 billion. Around 6 billion people use energy as the population grows toward 9 billion in 2037. The world's energy demand will increase simultaneously, and new technologies that require massive amounts of energy are constantly being developed. And as a result, some countries are willing to use all available sources of energy to power these pieces of technology. As stated previously, some countries have pledged to triple the capacity of nuclear energy usage at the recent COP28 summit. Nuclear energy is efficient, but could seriously run out by the end of the century. Alright, so this is my evaluation on future availability. So, nuclear energy is a very efficient source of energy and therefore high in demand. However, uranium could run out by 2080, causing nuclear energy production costs to skyrocket.
Thank you. Hi, John. The audience has a few questions for you about community disruption. I can hear one of them right now.
How does this energy source affect people living nearby?
Okay, so nuclear power plants are huge and mostly reside beside a water source such as a river. Some people can complain about power plants obstructing their scenery of beautiful Mother Nature. And in some extreme cases, such as Fukushima and Chernobyl, the reactors malfunctioned and ended up changing the ecosystems of a 30-kilometer radius around it. The radiation caused cancer and genetic mutations in humans. Entire bodies of water and soil were contaminated, and communities were also relocated. However, this is only in the most extreme cases. Usually, strict safety measures are put up in place to protect the citizens and workers and environment around the power plants. Although it's not all doom and gloom. Nuclear power plants can also have a positive impact on the businesses around it. The presence of a power plant can attract other industries and businesses to the areas such as restaurants for the workers.
Dring, 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 dring. We have an audience member on the line right here. Hello, sir. What is your name?
My name is 67 Lover, and I have a question for this young, handsome fella right here. How do community members typically feel about this energy source? Are they for it or against it?
So according to Bacchus data, which held a survey for over 100,000 Canadians, 55% had a positive opinion towards nuclear power plants. Surprisingly, it was the older generations who were most eager to accept this change. Canadians under 41 were skeptical about safety hazards nuclear power plants could cause in their residential areas. Overall, it has been a big step towards accepting a new energy source, which caused 2 disasters in the last 61 years. Oh my God.
Hola, amigo. ¿Cómo estás?
Ça va bien, monsieur. Alright, so this is my evaluation on community disruption. So, evidently, not everyone feels safe around nuclear power plants. And some people think that nuclear power plants block nature's scenery, but I think they are cool because look at this picture. This picture is so...
Aren't you cool?
I'm very cool, thank you.
Hello, Miss Baker. I'm Evan Prescott, and I will be your expert on nuclear costs.
Oh,
Oh my God! Oh no! There's a member. He's coming out of the. Woo!
Catch him!
Oh,
Catch him!
oh my
Catch
God,
him!
I got him. Oh, hello, loving audience member. Do you have a question for me about costs of nuclear energy?
Yes. What is the upfront cost to build this energy source?
Yes, of course. The upfront costs. These are a big part about the cost. So basically, I have this graph here, right? So this graph explains the all-around costs about nuclear energy. We got everything from 0.2% of the cost being the land. We have about 16% being the structures and improvements. This can be potentially ongoing cost about the improvements, maintenance. And then we have reactor equipment, turbine equipment. These are all upfront costs. And then we have a couple other miscellaneous stuff. But in like all around, let's just talk stats. Basically, with these big reactors like the CANDU reactors, they're about $6 to $10 billion. And then there are other smaller SMR reactors. Those cost about $1 to $4 billion.
Mr. Prescott! Mr. Prescott! I have a question!
Oh yes, wonderful. Go ahead.
What ongoing costs are required for maintenance, fuel, or operation?
Oh yes. the ongoing costs. We have costs in the fuel. We have costs and just a lot of costs. There are a lot of things that you need to pay for when you're running a reactor. But basically, the main ones are the fuel and maintenance. But these are significantly less than the upfront costs, as it's not in the billions of dollars. Any other audience member have a question? Audience? Yeah, go ahead.
Who usually pays these costs?
The government. The government. There's sometimes fraud domestic, but normally the government. Do you have any other questions? Like better questions,
How does the cost compare to other energy sources over its lifetime?
Yes. I was prepared very well for this question. This graph. So basically, this graph shows the cost per megawatt hours in 2023 to 2024. Right now, the SMR reactors, nuclear small modular reactors, they're pretty expensive, but that's in 2023. And then in 2030, the prices are expected to decrease a lot, making the energy cheaper to get for everyone. You can see here the lowest are solar energy, but you can see the nuclear reactors are highly comparable to other non-renewable sources.
7.
Hello, Ms. Baker. I'm back. I will be doing my evaluation on the cost.
So I want your personal opinion on this, but what do you think about the cost?
Personally, I don't really care because I don't own a nuclear reactor. But in other people's opinion, I think that the upfront cost could be very scary and put away many people. That's why it's mainly the government and really high-profile, like really wealthy private investors. But I think that nuclear energy is a very reliable energy source. That's why it's really competitive and comparable to other energy sources. And I think that it's definitely going to do a lot of numbers in the future and be very important to energy production, as it is highly competitive with other non-renewable energy sources. And eventually, if we keep updating and making these reactors even better, I think it will even be comparable to some of the renewable energy sources. Whoa, I'm nuclear pollution. Whoa, I'm just actually steam because that's all that comes out of the top of nuclear reactors. Hello, I will now be talking about pollution, nuclear pollution. There are many different parts to this. John, do you have a question? I know you do.
Actually, I don't, but Landon does.
Oh, yes.
What type of pollution are produced by this energy source?
So first of all, I'd like to state that there are actually really low air pollution, and there's only air pollution really before, during the uranium mining and the construction of the power plants. But, there's not really many greenhouse gas emissions. Do you have any other questions?
Alright, you could say John is polluting the world with 6 sevens, but how does nuclear pollution affect the human health and the environment?
So nuclear pollution. The main parts like the CO2, it doesn't really affect the human population. As you can see here, nuclear energy is really one of the lowest. There are 0.03% of deaths. This is included from Chernobyl and the Fukushima disasters.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And it really only produces 3 tons of greenhouse gas emissions.
That's extra crazy.
This from our world of data.
Whoa, so it's a real...
But I know you guys are wondering, what about radiation poisoning? Oh, well, you can't actually compare that to the other ones here, so there really isn't a graph for that because they don't produce nuclear waste. Do you have any other questions, though?
Your Honor, I beg to differ. John is not polluting the world with 6 sevens. Actually, it's Landon who's polluting the world with 6 sevens. In other words, is pollution created during energy production, transportation, or waste disposal?
That's a wonderful question. So let's talk about before. So before we have the uranium mining, that is when most of the CO2 emissions are produced, and also during the construction and transportation as the cars and trucks emit CO2,
Well, that's
and
crazy.
making the plants also produce CO2. But during the actual nuclear production, you only get radioactive waste, and then that you have to store. Do you have any other questions, or can I move on to my really cool graph?
No.
Oh.
So, I have a question. How does the pollution level compare to other energy sources, like John?
Oh, that's really interesting. I get to use my graph now because, as I've stated earlier, you can't really compare the nuclear waste, and this is like the closest stat graph that you can get. And nuclear energy is doing really good on it. But basically, with my radioactive waste volume graph, 90% is low-level waste, meaning that it'll decay the fastest because it's like low level, and then there's 7% of it is intermediate level. And that means it'll decay intermediately fast.
Yo, really?
And then
That's so
there's
cool.
high level waste. This waste is extremely dangerous and will take the longest to decay. It might take like 100,000 years, or it might like seem like it never will decay.
All right, is that it?
Unless you have a question, yes, audience.
Why does solar have?
Good morning, or afternoon, or evening. I don't know when you're watching this, Miss Baker. But I would like to state that I do not agree with how they have presented this, and you should lower their marks by 5%.
Yo, what?
Wait,
what?
So this is my evaluation on pollution. Nuclear energy produces almost no greenhouse gases.
Let's make a new take.
Yay! But it creates nuclear waste, and that's very bad.
Boo.
However, if you store nuclear waste correctly, there's almost no downsides that I can find, because if you store it correctly, then you just, keep it away. And I'll tell you. Oh, do you know something about Finland? They have the Onkalo tomb. And I know you like the Onkalo tomb, Miss Baker. That's why I've included it in this presentation. This, in my opinion, makes nuclear energy highly effective and sought after. And I think that it's good.
So I think Landon is producing. So, Mr. Prescott, please present your research studies on pollution, please.
These aren't actually my research studies, but they're research studies from life cycle assessment.
Wow.
Woohoo!
Yay.
So these studies look at pollution during, before and after, the nuclear energy production. They cover everything from uranium mining to waste disposal. And this graph, like right here, the really lovely graph that they've provided us with, shows the CO2 emissions in CO2 per kilowatt hour. So basically, the successes from the studies.
6, 7.
They are low CO2 emissions from nuclear. It's highly comparable to wind. There's like almost no difference there. Yay! And then it's like very clean in CO2 emissions, as most air pollution happens before, during the mining and construction. Yay! But then the failures from the study, the emissions aren't actually zero, and they can affect the wildlife. Uranium mining, if there is an accident or contamination in the water, it can highly affect the wildlife, as well as if there are explosions at the nuclear power plant.
Yo.
There is also one more failure that they saw from the study: long-term radioactive decay.
No. What?
This can have a high environmental impact if there's an accident, and that's really bad.
I agree.
We can all agree. But this is the research from studies from pollution, and this is my part on pollution.
Thank you, Evan. Clap, 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 clap.
Ciao, London.
6, 7, Evan.
Okay.
Come stai?
6, 7.
We have a really cool thing that we want you to talk to us about. We want you to talk about the political dependencies of nuclear energy.
That's an amazing question for a handsome guy. Anyway, dependencies are both sided. The largest exporters are Kazakhstan, Canada, Namibia, and Australia. Kazakhstan actually doesn't have any power plants, so they only export the uranium, whilst exporting more than 40% of total uranium.
Really?
Yeah! Namibia only has a couple, whilst exporting 6%. Canada has 17 power plants, mostly located in Ontario and New Brunswick, whilst exporting 22% of uranium.
Wait, Landon, why wouldn't we have nuclear plants here in British Columbia?
Oh, well, that's because of my next topic, suitability, which is not finished. Anyways, Australia exports 10% of the total uranium, And on the other side of the coin, we have Japan, South Korea, Germany, which is currently phasing out of nuclear, Switzerland, Belgium, Spain, and Sweden that purely rely on imports for their uranium.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. Baker.
Conditions are required for
Yo, you
this.
spell sustainability wrong.
Ready? 6, 7, 8. Hello, Evan.
Yo, Landon, what's up? You're my favorite, Landon. So I'm really proud of you for spelling sustainability right.
It's suitability, actually. Anyways, the image quality is terrible. Do you have any questions for me?
I do have some questions for you. What environmental conditions are required for this energy source to work effectively?
Okay, so it needs a coolant, so it needs to be near a water source. It needs to preferably have a low population density, low ambient temperature, low key to prevent meltdowns, low seismic activity, a low humidity to prevent corrosion, close to supplier, balance pretty self, makes it easier to transport, and minimal natural disasters.
Wait, so why can't we have them in BC again?
Well, BC has a lot of seismic activity, and it is also close to water, so there could be a risk of flooding. And not having these could reduce the efficiency of the power plant.
Thank you. I have another question. Where in the world or in Canada is this energy source most commonly used?
Well, it's mostly in United States, Europe, and Japan. But in Canada, there's 17 power plants in Canada, mostly in Ontario and New Brunswick.
Yippee! Landon, since you're so smart and so cool, can you explain why there is no power plant location like pin droppers in North America?
Well, this map is actually outdated, old-fashioned, superannuated, and obsolete.
Did you ChatGPT that answer specifically?
No.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my fellow international policies mates. How do you like nuclear energy international policies?
Oh, I love it very much. I've dedicated my whole life studying this. Anyways,
That's cool.
yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
Are there political conflicts or tensions linked to this energy source?
Yes. Ever since the Cold War of the first atomic bomb, countries have set up the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and well, we saw disarmament of bombs, and this basically says we won't develop nuclear warheads, and we'll use nuclear for peaceful intentions.
Yeah.
Okay, but unfortunately, some countries still haven't signed. Like,
Aww.
well, North Korea,
Aww.
India, Israel, Pakistan, South Sudan.
Damn, that's like a lot of them. Why
Yeah,
won't they
thank
sign?
you for your input.
Why won't they sign?
Because they're in war.
Oh.
Oh, Mr. Landon!
Yeah? What?
Oh, I came all the way from China just to ask this question.
What is it? What is it?
How do government policies or regulations affect the use of this energy source?
Alright, so here's some Canadian regulations. Nuclear Safety and Control Act, Nuclear Energy Act, Nuclear Fuel Waste Act, Nuclear Liability and Compensation Act. So essentially they founded an independent committee to settle all the nuclear stuff. And so they are in control of the research, and let me look at my notes.
Good choice.
There are transport and equipment regulations and other stuff. I didn't note that down. The Nuclear Fuel Waste Act is for, they're responsible for what to do with the waste. So they're gonna recycle the uranium-238 in the process called breeding, as we mentioned before.
Nice.
And the Nuclear Liability and Compensation Act, well, basically compensates anyone who's been affected by the nuclear power plants. Compensation like from English class. Alright, that's it.
Yay! Hello, Kieran. Can you talk to me about new net energy yields? Just before you start, my little brother has a really important question that he'd love to ask you.
Wait, how old am I?
You're 6 or 7 years old.
Thank you. Alright. Anyways, how much energy is required to build, transport, or maintain the energy source?
The energy it costs to build most power plants does not affect the net energy yield by that much because it's relatively small compared to how much energy nuclear power plants produce.
Wow, that's so cool.
Because on average, nuclear power plants produce 1 gigawatt in gross energy. Only 5% of the energy is used to maintain the nuclear power plant.
Wow, I'll tell that to my parents.
Oh, yes. The older brother, my older brother, who's 16 or 17 years old, has a question.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that energy yield improving over time due to new technology? Shut up.
Right now, power plants convert 33% of the heat energy. But in future concepts, nuclear power plants could theoretically convert 40 to 45% of the heat energy. This could reduce the net energy yield because it would reduce the amount of energy to get the electricity. The net energy yield of nuclear energy has a very high energy gain just because so much energy can come from come from such a small amount of fuel.
Oh, this is so cool.
In my opinion, I think nuclear energy is a very effective source of energy and can be used for very good things.
Yeah, I didn't ask for your opinion. 6.
Habitat degradation.
My little brother Landon has a question for you.
Hey, it's me again. What plants and animals are most affected by nuclear energy?
It's obvious that nuclear power plant accidents like Chernobyl and Fukushima can kill many animals, but there's other ways nuclear power plants can harm animals too. Nuclear power plants produce radioactive waste, which sometimes is maldistributed, which can harm all nearby plants and animals. But this can be solved short term by installing a storage facility of spent water-filled pools and dry storage gas.
Yep.
But then can be moved underground for long-term storage.
Period.
I have another question. How does nuclear energy change land, water, and other ecosystems in the area?
Nuclear energy also needs a lot of water, which is normally taken from a river or lake nearby.
That's what I said.
This can disturb habitats by taking water from the ecosystem, as well as other marine life, which can be killed on entrapment screens that block anything from entering the nuclear power plant through water.
John has a question now. Are the environmental impacts long-lasting?
That was not John.
Environmental impacts of a nuclear accident can last for thousands of years. For example, Chernobyl will not be habitable for the next 20,000 or more years. These disasters have a very low chance of happening, especially with new technology, but are still possible. I think that despite all of these factors, nuclear energy is still pretty good for the environment compared to other energy sources like coal or biomass.
6-7.
W speed.
Hello, Miss Baker. This was our conclusion and our opinions on nuclear energy individually. So, first of all, Landon did our introduction.
Yeah, it was cool. I liked the intro. Yeah.
Very cool.
And
Thank
Landon,
you.
Landon, what did you talk about nuclear energy in here? What's your opinion on it?
Oh, okay. So first we have to go back to the beginning. 14 billion years ago.
Oh
the Big Bang was
my
created.
lord! I'm terribly sorry, Landon.
my lord.
I meant your opinion on nuclear energy. What is it?
Oh, my opinion. Oh, that's something more relevant. And boring. I think it's honestly a pretty cool energy source. It's nice and green, and it dives into the science of radiation, which I love a lot. Anyways,
What did you talk today about in our presentation?
oh yeah, I talked about suitability and political conflicts.
Nice. John, what is your opinion on nuclear energy, and what did you talk about today?
I liked
6,
nuclear energy very much, and my topics were future availability, and community disruption. Yes.
All right,
Okay.
that's wonderful.
Whoa! I'm not done yet. Okay. My opinion on nuclear energy is that nuclear energy is very efficient, and we should be using it right now. But in the future, we need to move to renewable sources of energy.
Kieran, what is your opinion on nuclear energy, and what did you talk about today?
I think it's a pretty good energy source because it's very effective. And I talked about the habitat degradation and the net energy yield.
Nice. I hate nuclear energy because I don't like nuclear waste. I think that we should all use solar and wind and hydro energy. And I talked about the cost of the nuclear energy and the production and the pollution. And today we talked about nuclear energy.